Well, the last and only time UW-Milwaukee hit the 25-win mark, Bruce Pearl was still the coach. And now it's Pat Baldwin at the helm. His son, Patrick Baldwin Jr., has a chance to lead the Panthers to a new territory this season. Coach, how are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. That's good to hear as well. And, you guys are joined by Detroit Mercy, Wright State, and Cleveland State, all in our CBB rank. I guess, what does that kind of say about how tough the Horizon League really is?
It says a lot, and there's some really good coaches in our league, really good players, and you put those two things together, and you have some great teams, and this is probably going to be one of the most balanced years in the Horizon League since I've been here, and it's going to be a challenge day in and day out. And then you just try to figure out, how to win in some of those games because they're all going to be close. There's really good teams.
Of course, you mentioned that balance, but last season you guys won 3 of 4 to close out the season. So, Coach, how are you going to keep that up and roll that into this season?
Well, I think, we do want to, try to build off of last year. We have some new pieces but also we have some new guys or current guys that played for us last year. But we do want to build off of a late run last year, but we also know that this is a new team. And so we're still working on the chemistry. We're working on putting pieces in the right spots. But it certainly is a challenge that I like. And, our group has really worked hard this summer in order to put themselves in a position to, try and be successful and see how things turn out. But I'm excited about the direction we're going and knowing that we still have a lot of work to do.
Coach, I'll address the elephant in the room now, and I guess he'll be the big Panther on the court this season. That's your son, Patrick Baldwin Jr. How are you going to balance coaching a player who's also your son? I mean, I know it's been done before. You got Jim Boeheim doing it at Cuse, but how are you going to do that?
It's Patrick makes it really easy to coach him because he's a very unselfish type of player. And I'm going to ask him to do a lot for our program and for our team. And, he has some other guys around him that I think will help him as well. But it's really easy to coach him, in my opinion, because he's a great listener. He's a great leader. He's unselfish. And all he cares about is winning. So I know there's a lot of things that he's going to be doing out there on the court that lead to winning. And, I think in addition to that, we all would love to coach really good players. I think he's a very good player. He has great size. He can shoot the basketball. He can handle it. He can pass it. And I think that just adds to, the group that we have coming back. And then on the other things, it's going to be a typical freshman thing for him to learn, whether it's the speed, whether it's, learning from the mistakes that are out there on the floor that he'll have to correct. And he'll have his bumps in the road, and I'm expecting that, and he'll talk to you about that as well. But I think being around the game as much as he has been, and being around me, I think that transition will be, hopefully it's quicker, for him, and he can make those adjustments that he needs to make.
What sets him apart from other freshmen?
Well, I think what sets him apart is, he has legit size at 6'10", but then his skill set and his IQ really set him apart from other freshmen because, for someone at that size that can shoot it, somebody that can, play off of pick and roll, that can push the ball in transition and make decisions on the break, that's tough. And then, you start talking about how do you guard him, who do you put him on, or who do you put on him. So that's what makes him different. The other side of the ball is going to be where he makes his adjustments on the defensive side. And hopefully that sets him apart too, because, we're going to ask him to, switch on to some smaller offensive players and at times even guard bigger guys. So, that will give us some flexibility and versatility in the backcourt.
You talk about another player on your team, DeAndre Goldstein. I guess, what can you say about his leadership and takeover ability to help out Patrick?
I love Dre. He really had an exceptional summer of getting in shape and getting, if you think about his body, he's already strong, but he's leaned out. But I think he's even stronger. And his leadership this summer, from the spring into the summer, was really, really huge for our group. And I think he's poised to make that next jump. And we need him to. We want to be successful, and I think as Dre goes, so does our team. And I'm really looking forward to coaching this new form of Dre, and because he's an exceptional talent as well. He can shoot, he can drive, he can finish against contact, he can guard multiple positions. So we're really excited about having Dre back.
Coach, obviously rebounding, you lose Tejon Lucas and then Amir Allen. Bringing in a guy like Moses Bol, how can he help out down low?
We don't want to put so many expectations on somebody like Moses because he's coming from Central Florida and he has the size, but hopefully with Moses and Samba and who's another 7-footer, Samba Kane, and Joey St. Pierre, who's 6'10", 6'11", about 270, 280. Hopefully those trio of guys can help us out in the rebounding category because we were deficient in that area last year. We need to get better, especially on the defensive end. But I think that when you talk about successful teams, whether it's in leagues or if you're lucky enough to advance to postseason and into the NCAA tournament, size matters. It really helps to have that, especially if you're playing against, some Power 5 conferences. So somebody like Moses, someone like Samba Kane and Joey St. Pierre, they definitely, and I'm looking forward to them helping us on the defensive end and shoring up an area where we struggled at last year.
Coach, my biggest question, though, is in the backcourt. How will you decide who will be the point guard this season?
Well, I don't know if it's about how I decide. I think that we have some really good players that can command the point guard position. Last year, Jordan Lathan, he sat out and didn't play last year, but he's a 6'3", 6'4", super athletic guard we got him from UTEP and he transferred in and he's going to man the point guard position. And then Donovan Newby, he played significant minutes for us last year at the point guard position. He was a 90%, plus free throw shooter. He was, I think he had 41 assists to only 15 turnovers. So I think, in the backcourt, I think that we'll have, be pretty solid there. And then I look at someone like Jason Sinani, that he's a freshman from Oak Creek here in Wisconsin that is, 6'4", really strong. And, he's going to be looked at to assume some of that role at the point guard position as well.
Coach, I guess I'll end on this. Taking everything into consideration, what will it take to win the Horizon and get to the NCAA tournament?
It's hard to tell you. I mean, I think the biggest thing is defense. You look at Cleveland State and Wright State and Northern Kentucky and teams that have put themselves in position to be successful year in and year out. Their defense stands out. So for us, in order to put our name up with those types of teams, we have to play defense, and we got to get better in that area. We got to get better at defending the 3-point line. We got to get better at keeping teams out of our paint, and so that's probably the first thing that I look at is how are we going to be on the defensive end, and if we're any good at all, I think that will be the telltale sign of how we place in our league. And then you want to be as efficient as you possibly can. We know that there are really good teams in our league, so you better be able to score. And hopefully the guys that we count on to score and put points on the board, come through for us, and especially in close games, because you need those guys that can make plays down the stretch.
Well, Coach, it all sounds good, and I'm hyped for the season to start. I'm sure we'll be keeping our eyes on you as well. Thanks for joining us.
No, thank you. I appreciate you having me on.